G'day Bomber fans. Well, that game went about exactly as we expected. It was an old-fashioned shootout which we unfortunately didn't have the firepower for. Before I start though, make sure you get your votes down below. 3, 2, 1 Bomber players only, you know the drill, Brownlow style, and stick around till the end of the video to find out how you can get 20% off Manscaped and help make the Essendon fan base the best looking in the comp. First quarter started as I thought it would. This was the worry, our tired legs going up against their fresh, powerful midfield, a 5-day break versus an 8-day break, and it showed. We were completely obliterated early. Dangerfield had the ball on a string. They won the first 6 centre bounce clearances of the game, I think. It was living in their half anyway, and it's why they kicked a 6 to start the game. People would be quick to blame Brendan Zerk-Thatcher. I saw it online. He let Tom Hawkins off the leash a bit, who kicked 4 in the first term, but there was simply nothing he could do at times. The problem was our midfield. It was coming in so fast and with so much power, we didn't have time to set up the way we wanted to defensively. Hawkins was great and finishing off the hard work of their midfield. I think he had 5 marks inside 50 for the first quarter, which was ridiculous. Our pressure when the ball was flowing was actually good. In fact, when the ball wasn't in stoppages, we looked alright. Our chain hand passing was nice, our link-up play was hard to defend, but our kicking efficiency at times was so frustrating. We didn't have many chances already, so to see so many wasted just added fuel to the fire. We got goals back late in the first, but it was only when Dangerfield was on the bench. He had a rest, and that is when we won the ball out of the midfield. I highlighted this in my preview. Geelong get so many clearances, but it's off the back of Paddy, so when he was down, so were the cats in the guts. The second quarter started the way the first ended. We were clearly back in the contest, but playing catch-up footy. We started winning clearances out of the midfield, but they were meaningless, most eaten up by their class defense, whereas their clearances always came with power and precision. And for every goal we got back, we would cough up another one. Our disposal efficiency improved around the ground, but not down back. Defensive disposals were so poor. We had a lot of turnovers in D50 that resulted in goals. 2 in particular in the second came under no pressure whatsoever. BZT and Redmond gave away goals, but those are just examples, not heaping the blame on them. And we also began to see little issues arise from that first quarter disaster, like BZT. He was clearly scared in that matchup in the second term. He was searching for body contact on Hawkins instead of backing himself in to fly like he would most weeks. He became too worried about the impact Tomahawk was having. The second half was much more even. We actually looked much better in more patches, but we failed to really get on top and add proper scoreboard pressure. Some set shot misses hurt, but also the fact we were chasing a 7-goal deficit. It was never really going to get intense until we had it within 3 or so goals. I will highlight our coach Brad Scott because he had some clever positional changes. Ridley went to Hawkins and kept him more quiet, which allowed BZT to play the way he wanted to down back, and he looked a lot more comfortable and confident as well. And Shield up forward I thought worked a treat. That's a move I want to see happen more. We started to look on top at stoppages, but unfortunately we just couldn't lock the ball in at all. They left defense so easily, but also held it in their forward line and didn't allow us to do the same. It's why they could make the lead a hefty one against us after we got back to within 4 goals, I think it was. And as it so often happens in these games, it kind of fizzed out. Both teams were tired, and there is always a mutual reluctance to show crazy amounts of pressure, so the margin kind of just got cut a tad, but it's only because no one was really trying. I look at the 3-quarter time deficit as the true margin of the match. So that is the run-by-run of the plays and how the game went, but where was the game lost? Luckily for this review, there was a lot wrong with our performance, so there is a lot for me to talk about. We of course start with some things we couldn't control. We clearly looked less fit and less hungry, and I think that can be attributed to our short break. We looked slower to start, and that is usually how it goes with the shorter breaks. Collingwood did the same against Adelaide on the Sunday game with an almost identical break that we could not control. We also could not control the defensive setup. No Laverty, no Stewart put a heap of pressure on Brendan Zerk-Thatcher, who was destroyed by Hawkins. He kicked 8 goals, a career high for him, and it's because Chris Scott saw this flaw in our defense and told Tomahawk to just stay deep, and the rest of the forward line, the Geelong forward line, to leave the space and let him do his thing. It's why entries were so high and so isolated to Hawkins, because he could use his body against a lankier BZT. We got our fair share of clearances, but none were that damaging. It's hard to see hurried kicks or Parrish wheeling onto his left. We coughed it up to Radagalier, Guthrie or Stewart quite a lot, and on the flip side, Geelong were powerful. They ran the ball out of the centre like the Pies did against us in that last quarter the week prior. Our midfield defence from stoppages needs a lot of work. The impact of Phillips and Draper was completely nullified by Blixars and De Koning. They had both our rucks in their pockets all day. Blixars in particular was incredible. I thought he was one of their most important players on the day and did so well to keep Draper quiet when he was on him. Merritt was another who was kept quiet. He had O'Connor, I think it was, on him all game, and he kept him to under 20, which you don't usually see with our captain. It was a frustrating afternoon for him. It's hard when we are using the ball so poorly around the ground and not able to find Merritt, who is our best user, going into our forward half. Speaking of, I may as well bring it up again. Our efficiency was really poor. It's hard when you are losing and wasting opportunities. We were good in front of goal, but a lot of attacks fizzed out because because of unforced errors, and more importantly, we gave the ball up in some dangerous areas in defense, which helped them score. Our contested ball was just not it. We looked a bit rattled, which I think came from the slow start. It's also hard going up against such a strong team with mature heads. You've got players like Dangerfield and Atkins in particular who just love a contest. They were always going to have good games. Most worryingly, though, was Geelong's ability to transition the ball from their defensive 50 to their forward line. They clearly did their homework on our defensive setup and utilised the smarts of Stewart to find hard-working runners like Isaac Smith, Duncan, Holmes and Brian Myers, who I highlighted in my preview, to find space in dangerous areas on the wings. It was hard seeing them move so freely compared to us. We were forced to go long and high a lot, which with Draper and Phillips blanketed, it just didn't work. We only had 3 contested marks for the game, which tells you all you need to know. And it really doesn't help that they were on. They had Dangerfield playing incredible footy. Jeremy Cameron was fantastic. Tom Stewart was so big down back. Like I said, Mark Blixars was awesome, but it was really the Tom Hawkins show. 8 goals, 10 marks inside 50. That is 10 marks inside 50. He had 10 himself. We had 12 as a team, which shows you how much of an impact he really had. Underperforming Dons, like I said, Draper and Phillips. I think Phillips is going to come under selection pressure. Massimo D'Ambrosio is also going to be under pressure. He went at 28% by foot. Zerk Thatcher had a nightmare first half, but did well to regain confidence and lift in the second. But you also had players like Langford and Redmond underperform, which hurt because they've been 2 of our very best all year. There were luckily no injuries that I know of. Sam Draper had a slight ankle roll, I believe, but came out to finish the game, and Phillips was subbed out tactically for Snelling, who came on and did his role in the limited time he had. In the end, it was just a disappointing result, a disappointing start. The margin flatters us quite a bit because I only really think we were in the game for maybe a couple of minutes in the third. For the most part, you just knew it would be a loss. We never really looked in control, and even when we did, you just knew that when we kicked goals, they would find answers. Yes, Geelong are good, but there are no excuses for coughing up 20 goals. That is not the team we want to be. No excuses. We simply were not up to their level. Enough of that, though. Let's try and find some positives by discussing votes. Remember to leave yours in the comments below. I will reveal them on Wednesday for the preview against the Power. We give 1 vote to Dylan Shiel. I thought he was excellent in his new role. He played primarily forward of the ball. He had 22 disposals, 2 goals, 3 goal assists. His class was a breath of fresh air in and around the 50. 2 votes to Sam Wiedemann. What a performance that was. 5 goals. His career high, I believe. He covered so much ground as well. He had the 2nd most distance covered after Nick Martin. He worked really hard all game. But 3 votes to Stringer. He played a lot of midfield minutes, which helped us get some powerful clearances. He had 11 clearances to go along with his 26 disposals, and also hit the scoreboard 5 times with 4 majors. Some that are unlucky: Darcy Parish. He had 37, but just didn't use the ball well enough, I thought. Nick Martin was yet again on the fringe for votes. He had a great game. I thought Ridley was fantastic down back under pressure. He was our best defender, and Jai Caldwell as well had a match that he would be happy with. But that is that review done. Not a very happy one, but that's what you get against the Cats. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to keep up to date with everything Essendon, and I'll see you on Wednesday for the round 8 preview. And here's a little word from Manscaped. Bomber fans, I'm on a mission to make our fan base the best looking one in the league, which is why I have teamed up with Manscaped to help spread the word, whether it be body grooming gear that you can find in the Performance Package 4.0, which I received recently, or individual items like cologne, foot spray and deodorant. You can find it all at Manscaped. I'll tell you something, when you cram 95,000 supporters into the G, the smell is not pleasant, I can tell you firsthand. So why not spruik up our cheer squad and have it smelling nice and fresh with some Manscaped body wash, and while you're at it, you can make your balls nice and smooth to celebrate the team's good form. If you want to hop on board to help make us the most well-groomed fan base in the comp, simply head over to manscaped.com, add whatever you want to the cart, and use the promo code EverythingEssendon20 to save 20%, and we'll even take away the shipping charge. That is 20% off, plus free shipping with Everything Essendon20 at manscaped.com. Also guys, I should say we are quickly approaching 1,000 subscribers, which is awesome, so if you could hit that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Cheers guys, and see you next time.